Welcome back. You may have started fixing your chainsaw. You might have stripped it down a little and now you've got a box full of nuts and bolts. They all look different and you're thinking, I don't remember where they go. There's no way I'll get them back in the right places. But we've all been there. So in this video, I'm going to give you some hints and tips on how to find the right places for the correct bolts. So keep watching. Welcome to the Repair Specialist channel, because knowledge is power. So let's get to it. Right, so the task is to find the right screws for this out of all of these. So it's easily enough to do. Obviously we take a look in there, we can see whatever goes in there is very thin. We can just see that it bottoms out at about that length and it's going into plastic. Those are the important things, because what's usually the case, that anything that goes into plastic wouldn't have screws like this. These are fine that usually screw into metal. The screws will be more like this, more coarse. This screw is obviously too big, it won't fit in there. Now we've got these little tiny ones. They do look about the right thickness for that hole and about the right length. And the threads are nice and coarse, more like a screw. I dare bet these are the screws. Now we're at that scenario again where we need to find the right nut for this. So we've got to look at the thickness and the threads, take that into consideration. And we're looking for one type of nut. So let's have a look. Here we've got a nut. There's another one here the same. Because they're the same type, they're twins, it's not likely to be those. And there's a nut here that seems to be a loner. There isn't another one like it. And the fact that this nut is around about the same thickness as the shaft and the threads look around about the same. Let's take a look. It looks to me like we've got a good match, and indeed that's screwing on well there, so it is the right one. So this is the kind of principle we use to put these kind of things together if we get them as a box of parts. We can just use a little common sense of what looks like it goes where with the right size, and we can usually get there no problem. Right, okay, so now we may as well fit the coil pack, and we're going to be trying to find the correct bolts for these. So let's take a look. We've got a very narrow hole, so we know we're looking for a narrow kind of bolt, and it's quite a fine thread in there. It's also got to be long enough to go through this thickness here of metal in order to get through to the threads. And another important observation is that it's going to be screwing into metal, not plastic. Okay, so it's not going to be this kind of screw bolt type thing, because this is a coarse thread that's normally used to go into plastic. We've got this, that's a fine thread, looks like it goes into metal, it's quite thin as well, and it looks quite long enough. And if there's two of these, it would suggest that they were made for the job. And there's another one. Let's see if the threads actually go in and they're okay. They seem an absolute great fit, so I would say these are the ones. So which are the correct nuts? Well, we can see they're going to be very small. And if we take a look at the plastic just around this set pin area, it's very flat and there's an edge to it. So we're looking for a nut that will fit on that edge. So we're looking for small nuts, 2 of them, that will complement that edge around the set pin. These here, they're small and they have that shoulder around them. So these will be the ones. We put the retaining bolt in. But out of all of those parts left, what is the correct bolt for that? Well, let's have a look at what it is again. It's plastic. So we're looking for a coarse screw type thread, and it's going to be quite small. Looking at this, relatively short. We've got some here that look like the right thickness, and the threads look like the right type of threads. They're like a screw thread, but that one is too long. It wouldn't protrude out that much. We've got this one, which is the same sort of thread, and it's shorter. I would say that does work. So let's try that. And indeed it screws in there fantastically. Now we're looking for the correct retaining nut for the cover. Is there a lone nut? There is a lone nut just here. It looks like a brass type nut, and that's because you could imagine this area here is prone to corrosion. So this type of nut is less likely to corrode and stick on here. So there's more chance we could get this off when we need to. So that's the correct one. Let's fit that. Right, so now we've got to find the right bolt for this. This is plastic, and it looks to me like it makes its own thread as it goes through. So it's not going to be a fine thread like what we just screwed into this metal. They look the right sort of thickness We will try the longer one to make sure that we've got enough threads. So let's have a go at that. So that bolt was good. So let's go down here and use another one of the same. We can use those.